Hello everyone! My topic is all about cytoisosporiasis, also known Isospora belli. The table of content is definition, distribution, life cycle, habitat, diagnosis, signs and symptoms, pathogenesis, treatment, and also the lastly is the prevention and control. What is cytoisosporiasis? Cystoisosporiasis, also commonly known as isosporiasis, is an intestinal disorder in a human caused by a parasite called Cystoisospora belli. The disease is most commonly in the tropical and subtropical areas of the world and is most commonly spread by ingesting contaminated food or water. From the definition of Cystoisospora belli, we get that it's a parasitic infection caused by the specific parasite called Isospora belli. This is actually what it looks like down here, and this infection commonly affects the gastrointestinal tract of the patient, causing an intestinal disease. Let's proceed for the life cycle of the Isospora belli. Humans are said to be the only known host for Cystoisospora belli parasite. The disease is spread through contaminated food and water sources which became tainted by the contaminated feces from an infected individual. Transmission through oral, anal sex, which is swimming, is also possible. So one actually contrasts the disease when they ingest these parasites from contaminated food or water resources. So this means that vegetables which are grown in a contaminated water sources, or even someone going to their bathroom and not washing their hands properly and preparing a meal, these are all the different ways in which one can cause the disease. Look at this image. It says the mature cysts, which are their eggs of the parasite what sporozoites ingested, and the both sides actually develop within the intestine and they are released into the pieces, and then the immature sites develop with the sporoblasts and the immature oocysts with the sporocytes develop. And then one can ingest this mature oocyst parasite again and the cycle continues. So that the disease is also said to be transmitted through oral fecal route, which means that it can also be transmitted through oral anal sex. Let's proceed in the habitat of cytoisosporiasis. It primarily exists in the epithelial cell of the small intestine and they develop in the cell cytoplasm. The distribution of this coccidian parasite is cosmopolitan but is mainly found in the tropical and subtropical areas of the world such as the Caribbean, Central and South America, India, Africa, and Asia. Next one is the signs and symptoms of the disease. The signs and symptoms of this disease is first one is the watery diarrhea, which is most common the symptoms. Stomach cramps, nausea and vomiting, decreased appetite, and also the fever. So we see that the parasite actually localizes within the GI tract and actually affects the intestine quite incredibly, so that why we have the development of all the symptoms affecting the GI tracts. Next one is the diagnosis of this disease. So diagnosis of this disease is done by the detection of the oocyst via microscopic examination of the stool. Multiple stool specimen may be needed because cyst secretion may be intermittent. Diagnosis is sometimes made only with the intracellular parasite stages are detected in biopsies of intestinal tissue. The blood samples will also show hypereosinophilia. It's usually the body's basic response to a parasitic infection. We will have high levels of a specific type of a white blood cells. Next one is the pathogenesis of this disease can cause marked villus atrophy and creep hyperplasia in the small intestine. Inflammatory infiltrate in the lamina propria include eosinophils, neutrophils, lymphocytes, and plasma cells. So let's proceed in the treatment of this disease. The treatment of a choice is a double strand, which is the trimethoprim, or sulfamethoxazole, which is the TMP or SMX. It's usually given at 160 milligrams TMP and the 800 milligrams of the SMX for the 7 to 10 days. Let's proceed for the last, which is the prevention and control of this disease. First one is you should avoiding food or water that might be contaminated with stool may help prevent infection. Second one is you should always good hand washing and personal hygiene practices should be followed. Lastly is wash your hands with soap and warm water after using the toilet, changing diapers, and before handling a food. Because I don't want